Why youth is protesting against India?
The youth protest, which had gone on for some time, resulted in the ouster of Hasina Wajid in a great hurry. She was virtually plucked out of her house and put in a helicopter and given shelter in India.
What were the Indian objectives under Hasina Wajid rule? What India wanted to get by having its strong footprints in Bangladesh?
India's thing is very simple. India wants hegemony in the area, and hegemony by any means, right?
The young politician who was also candidate for the Bangladeshi parliament. So what do you think, to what extent the Indian involvement in his killing?
Indians will always be involved in assassination. Throughout history, that political assassination is part of their, let us say, mantra. Now they've given February 12th as the election day. The elections will take place, right? And obviously, if the Awami League is not there, it is expected that the major seats will be between BNP and Jamaat Islami.
So who is likely to emerge if elections take place free and fair?
My own feeling is because of the 18 to 25, they will get a significant amount of the vote, the youth, but they will not have enough to counter BNP and the Jamaat Islami.
So there is any possibility of any coalition government?
Yes, 100%.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hello and welcome to Program Insight in V News English. Dear viewers, today's conversation is focused on prevailing political situation in Bangladesh. Over the last couple of days, Bangladesh is witnessing one of the worst political demonstrations against former Prime Minister Hasina Wajid and also against Indian involvement in internal affairs of Bangladesh. In the backdrop of this, there has been an unfortunate death of young Bangladeshi politician Usman Hadi. Usman Hadi was assassinated a few weeks ago by unknown gunmen, and finally he was taken to Singapore for treatment, where he could not survive, and ultimately he died. His dead body was brought back and he was buried over there. So in today's conversation, we will try to examine, analyze that why Bangladeshi youth is on the streets again and why they are protesting against India. To discuss this and all related issues, we are fortunate to have with us senior defense and political analyst, Mr. Ikram Sehgal. Mr. Ikram Sehgal is considered as an authority on South Asian and Bangladeshi affairs. Very warm welcome to Program Insight in V News English, Ikram Sehgal Sahab.
Thank you, Mateen Sahab. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you in our program. As I said, would you like to say that why Bangladeshi youth is again holding demonstrations in Dhaka and several other cities? And according to some latest report, these demonstrations have reached to Bangladesh-India border as well. So question is why youth is protesting against India?
On August 5, 2024, the youth protest, which had gone on for some time, resulted in the ouster of Hasina Wajid in a great hurry. She was virtually plucked out of her house and put in a helicopter and given shelter in India. And she has been in India ever since. Now, the problem was that at first, I think India miscalculated, and they thought that the army, which, when I say the army, I use a loose term because actually it was shown on August 5th, 2024, there were two armies there. One was the generals, and by the way, in Bangladesh, even a brigadier is called brigadier general, he's called a general. So out of the 55 generals who are today existing in Bangladesh, almost all of them were promoted, all of them were promoted during Hasina Wajid's time.
And it's Bangladeshi army generals, exactly.
And it is very clear that India had such a lot of control over all the postings and promotions in the army that they would never allow anybody beyond the rank of lieutenant colonel to hold any high post. So they really concentrated that the person who became a lieutenant colonel and then went on to lieutenant colonel to brigadier general and then went to major general and even lieutenant general. They were all, actually, they were cleared by India for promotion. And now it's safe to assume that some of them may have, always it is safe to assume that even though their hearts were not in it, in order to ensure that they survived in the army, they sort of gave the impression that they were listening to Indian influence and were under Indian influence. Now, to start with, let us go back to the present Chief of Army Staff. Who is the present Chief of Army Staff? The present Chief of Army Staff is a nephew of Hasina Wajid.
Is a nephew of Hasina Wajid.
Hasina. He was
a very close
actually,
relative, exactly.
Yes. Not only close relative. The second time Hasina Wajid came as Prime Minister, she took a person out of retirement, Lieutenant General Mustafizur Rahman, right? And that Lieutenant General Mustafizur Rahman was an engineer officer who was retired, and he was brought in as Chief of Army Staff. It is his daughter that Bakar Zaman is married to. So actually, I would say nephew-in-law, not nephew, but nephew-in-law. And if you look at Bakar Zaman's career, mostly it has been upwardly mobile because of his father-in-law. Right, he's a good professional soldier, and one cannot take away that from him. And he has been, he's been a sort of honor winner. He's been topping in this thing. But let us say that he got the benefit of a lot of people, that other people were there who were actually taken out of contention in order to make his way clear. Now, what did he do? 2 days before Hasina Wajid's ouster, he told Hasina Wajid in public, in a gathering, that over my dead body, somebody will take you away from here. Right. From that meeting, he went back and had called a meeting of all the officers of the garrison in Dhaka, and that officers included majors, right? At that meeting, he was clearly told by the generals there that the majors have said that they will not obey orders to fire on their own crowds. Right. So that meeting actually was a little bit of a setback for him. So he changed that, and he decided to facilitate, Hasina Wajid's ouster in a way that she could come back. And he actually convinced her on that basis that it is best for you now to leave, right? And we will eventually get you back. That did not happen. That did not happen because the meltdown that the Indians expected among the army, among the law and order, did not happen. And the student worked very swiftly to install a Muhammad Yunus, a very non-controversial person, loved by all, and a person known for his own...
By profession, economist, exactly.
Economist, and a Nobel Prize winner. A Nobel Prize winner. So it was, he was brought and he was made the chief advisor, which is equivalent to the prime minister, right? Now, when that happened, Yunus Saab turned around and, of course, did what he was expected to do, the right thing. And he set up an election commission. The election commission today is one of the best that has ever been seen in the history of Bangladesh. It's composed of very, very honest people. And even though, they have put proposals which may not have been agreed upon, they listen to all points of view before formulating an election schedule, this thing. And so, and in fact, the constitution was altered, right? with the consensus of people. And in that constitution, of course, one of the major things that they did was, because of the criminal charges against Awami League and the Awami League leaders, because you must remember that a lot of people disappeared. But in the meantime, let me just go a little sideways into the army. RAB, which was the Rapid Action Battalion, which was the instrument by which Hasina Wajid was, using torture and disappearance of people, etc., was officered to a main degree by the army.
Mm.
And when this his regime collapsed, all these officers went into the cantonment. Some of them, the generals, some of them, the major ones, escaped across the border into India, right? But about the major 15 of them, and most of them were brigadier generals and major generals, stayed in the cantonment. Now, they were not touched by the army. They went on doing their normal duties. But the student community and everybody else asked for them to be accountable. So a commission was set up. A commission was set up, which went through all the documentation and all the evidence and decided to charge 15 of them. 15, and most of them were generals, serving generals. They were not retired generals, right? So when people were charged, the army was reluctant to hand them over this thing, because Waqar Zaman obviously, was playing a middle game, right? There was, in the meantime, a lot of consensus in the army, and the anti-Indian sentiment came up the ranks, even beyond the major's rank to lieutenant colonels and brigadier generals. The anti-Indian sentiment. Some of it may have been influenced by the current affairs in Bangladesh, but the point is, a lot of anti-Indian sentiment come in. So the army itself, you see, one of the things which showed anti-Indian sentiment was their graduation towards Pakistan, and quite a bit, right? Even though, let me tell you, some of the people who were from here, they went and were garlanded, and the people there garlanded them, and etc., they had no love lost. Some of them did not have any love for Pakistan. But the point is that they went through this, let us say, charade for their own safety and for their own existence. Now, the point is, at the moment, what is India? India now discovered that it's on a losing wicket. The anti-Indian sentiment kept on growing and growing and growing. Even the fact that the Awami League was banned, and the Awami League tried to stage demonstrations and things like that, could not happen. Could not happen because the public did not allow it to happen. So India resorted to what it does. And what it has doing, Mateen Saab, since before 1947. Let me tell you, India today as a union is a farce. 638 or 658 there were states and small this thing, etc., which had been given option by the British Empire that you are
their future. Exactly.
Mateen Saab, not one of them willingly sided with India. Not
658 states.
650 states. Or not one of them. They, for some reason or the other, they were either by subterfuge, by sabotage. There was this criminal called Vallabhbhai Patel, who became the Home Minister. What he did was that even before, in 1945, when he became the Home Minister, he cleaned the Intelligence Bureau of all, any element that were opposed to Hindu rule, right? Completely. He took out Muslims and Hindus, all, anybody who thought. And also he took out even British officers from there. With the result that Lord Wavell used to call the Viceroy used to call him almost a criminal. He is doing all these things. they used various means. They used a different means in Kashmir. They used a different means in Junagadh. They used a different means in Goa later. They used a different means in Hyderabad, right? Just to give an example, Assam and the Manipur states were never part of that
Never
deal.
part, exactly.
Never part. They were supposed to become part of then East Pakistan.
True.
It was meant by a simple stroke of the pen. They were, it was not a Hindu majority area.
But now question is about this prevailing situation. What were the Indian designs? Were the Indian objectives under Hasina Wajid rule? What India wanted to get by having its strong footprints in Bangladesh? Of course, currently the students are protesting against, but over last 16 years, this Hasina Wajid ruled Bangladesh as a prime minister in connivance with Indian support, with an Indian intelligence support. What India wanted by having strong footprints in Bangladesh?
You see, their major problem with Bangladesh, of course, other than, of course, what does India want with
Exactly.
Nepal? What does India want with Sri Lanka? Right? What does India want with Maldives?
Maldives,
Right?
Bhutan,
They want,
Nepal, Sri Lanka. Exactly.
they want to Bhutanize everybody. Let me put the word. The people use Balkanize, I use the word Bhutanize because that's the only state that, even they are not happy, but they can't do much about it. So the point is, they thought that we will dominate Bangladesh, but their main thing was the line of communication to Assam. It was very important. So they proposed a canal through Bangladesh. Can you imagine? Well, not only a canal, but a rail line which could have nothing to do with Bangladesh. It would be sovereign Indian railway line, sovereign Indian canal. The Bangladesh would have nothing to do with that thing. So there would be a direct link between the thing instead of going through the chicken's neck that you hear about, Liguri and all these places, etc. So India's thing is very simple. India wants hegemony in the area, and hegemony by any means, right? Now, look at what. Now, let me just go back a little bit to history. What is happening in Bangladesh is not surprising. Where did Muslim League start? Muslim League started in Dhaka.
Exactly, 1906.
1906, because the people of Bengal, undivided Bengal, there was no West Bengal and no East Bengal at that time.
True.
There was Bengal, there was a Prime Minister of Bengal, right? The people of Bengal did not want that the rule should be their thing. So they actually had a thing which was the original Mountbatten plan, took this into view that the majority of Bengalis do not want domination by India. And not only that, they resent the domination by India. They resent the Hindu domination. Not the India, there's no India at that time. There was Hindu domination, right? So the point is very simple, that now has come to the surface. And it has come to the surface with such a thing that even I was in East Pakistan in 1971, and I saw those demonstrations, which led to ultimately March 25th, and before that the civil movement, which said civil disobedience movement. So the point is, it was nothing compared to what is going on now. Nothing. Because what used to happen was a demonstration used to take place, but it used to be confined to a particular area. This is a mass demonstration throughout the cities. It is not confined to any locality.
These current demonstrations, exactly.
And even during the demonstration which led to August 5th, 2024, was a little bit like this, but not on the scale that it's happening now.
Right? It is intensified now, exactly. Yeah. So next question is, what do you think regarding the Indian involvement in the killing of this Usman Hadi, the young politician who was also candidate for the Bangladeshi parliament. So, what do you think? To what extent the Indian involvement in his killing?
Indians will always be involved in assassination. In fact, if you look at it, they throughout history, that political assassination is part of their, let us say, mantra.
Agenda.
That mantra. This is
Mantra.
if because if you have read the Artha Shastra, right? If you read the Astra Shastra, you will find that there are chapters, not one chapter, chapters devoted on how to assassinate political figures, how to assassinate military leaders, how to assassinate. It's not that you will assassinate, it's how to assassinate them. So the question is part of their genes.
Mantra, exactly.
Mantra. And so, this man was there, he was the thing, etc. And they thought that by getting rid of him, right, they would. But the point is, what they have done is that they have, if I may use the term for Bangladesh, they have wounded a tiger. And the most dangerous animal in the world is a wounded tiger. So the point is that
they have wounded tiger. So another question is that to what extent these killings of student leader, number one, this Usman Hadi, another one was seriously injured in another recent attack. To what extent the killing of Usman Hadi will have impact on Bangladesh-India relations?
It has already had an impact. It's not a question of conjecture now. It's not a question of perception.
It has already impacted, exactly.
It's a reality. And even before that, right? The Indians have crossed a fail-safe line, right? They've crossed a fail-safe line. Now, I ask you one question. The man who actually, if you look at it, removed Hasina Wajid from power technically was Waqar Zaman.
Exactly, the Bangladeshi army chief.
How many attacks do they do on the Bangladeshi army chief? Have you heard?
Not a single one.
Yes. Does that give you some signal? Right? The point is very simple. I'm nothing. I don't
focusing on, because students were also a decisive segment, and that led to the removal of Hasina Wajid. No doubt, as you said, that General Waqar Zaman also played a role, but there was a massive student movement which led to the removal of Hasina Wajid as Prime Minister.
But it could not have happened without the army.
Exactly. That's very crucial and important.
You can say anything you feel like. It could not have happened without the army, right? And the army, of course, had a role to play, and a major role to play in that. And the army, in the meantime, from time to time, the army has given some signals as to that they're not very happy with the situation. They even thought that they could browbeat Yunus. Mr. Yunus, Mohammed Yunus, he didn't budge. He was very adamant. He says, I will do what is the correct thing, right? When he set up this commission for accountability, he said, I will do what is the correct thing. I will not, this thing, etc. So I think my own feeling is, now they've given February 12th as the election day. The elections will take place, right? And obviously, the Awami League is not there. It is expected that the major seats will be between BNP and Jamaat Islami. Jamaat Islami is also...
You're talking about upcoming elections.
Yes. Bangladesh Nationalist Party, BNP, and Jamaat Islami are the two major contenders. And there are many other parties, but I doubt they will get more than 5 to 6 seats each.
So maximum. What about this, the Students' Party, which is National Citizen Party?
They're the major party, but no, I don't think so.
But
They
they
will
will
not
be
be able.
getting a significant
They,
majority.
they will they will get a significant amount of party, but they will not sweep because even the people of Bangladesh are not very happy as to their demands. They have made some very excessive demands, right?
Hmm.
So the people of Bangladesh, the general public of Bangladesh, they're anti-Indian, but they're not very happy with to let the students
Rule
become the
the
rulers,
country.
rule the countries.
But ultimately, this Usman Hadi's this killing mysteriously. But don't you think that this killing will have some positive impact on voters turnout?
Yes, my own feeling is because I know by some quirk of fate, let me just tell you that I know some of the members of the election commission,
Hmm.
right? And I've been from time to time had conversations with them, as much as one can have on a telephone, you see, without a secure line. And I'm quite convinced that the elections would be free and fair, right?
Hmm.
And they've leaned over backwards to accommodate all the political parties for their genuine demands, whichever they have been. They've said yes, even though they themselves said they have some reservations about it, but they said this is a genuine demand and they want that thing. They've leaned over backwards to accommodate the student party, right? And that thing said, but my own feeling is that the majority, the BNP will get a majority of the votes, if not a majority of the
And
seats.
who is their
Right.
top leader? Who is BNP's top leader?
The BNP top leader today is Haider. She's quite sick. She's being treated now
Hmm.
in Medivac to London. She's being treated there. Her son has been there. Tariq has been there for some time. He has not yet come into Bangladesh. I am doubtful that he will come to Bangladesh because
Hmm.
he was not a very popular figure when he was in Bangladesh. He was known
So
to be
there is some
corrupt.
other BNP leader.
Well, the local DNP leaders are there, and they have stood their ground in Bangladesh, and I expect a thing, and I expect some of the Awami League leaders who are not happy with Hafsina Wajid either, and had not with that. Listen, we must not just condemn Awami League outright.
True.
It is some people in the Awami League who are outright pro-Indian, but the Awami League, all of them, they were also Bangladeshis, and they did not like the Indian and the Indian influence. But they had, let us say, they had no choice. They either went along with what the party said, or they went out of the party, right?
Hmm.
And they came into the opposition, right? And as they knew, opposition leaders were disappearing right, left, and center. And particularly if a person who is from a party leaves a party, he is bound to be a victim better sooner than later.
So today, the latest development is Dr. Yunus has announced that elections will be taking place exactly, and there may not be any delay. So, how you see this particular announcement? And in the backdrop of this announcement, as you said, that BNP is likely to win. So, where does this student party is visible on election radar? As you said, that Bangladeshi people may not support these National Citizen Party, which is, of course, mainly of Bangladeshi young students. So, where the election momentum or this election parties into the election are heading, BNP, Jamaat Islami, this students party. So, who is likely to emerge if elections take place free and fair?
We can't count them out for the reason that you must remember that a majority of the population is between 18 and 27, 28, right? And historically, if you look at Bangladeshi student history, uh,
Hmm.
most of them are in college and university between 18 and 25, right?
18 and
So
25 age bracket you're talking about.
1825. They tend to be late to college and university because sometimes they tend to work before going back to college, etc.
Hmm.
So a fair amount of the population is still between that age, the
Hmm.
voting population, the
True.
voting population, right? So it now to see who comes out to vote. who comes out to vote. So
Mm.
I think it has been the interest of Bangladesh if you have a large voter turnout. The voting mechanism is very good. You've got a slate of paper. On the slate of paper, you've got the name of the not only the name of every voter, you've got the photograph of the voter.
Mm-hmm.
Which is something which is really something. Can you imagine that you don't have to go and buy just prove yourself through thumb impression or through ID card or whatever. You've got the photograph of the voter in the this thing. So there are and the ballot paper is also not very big in the sense the ballot paper is with all the candidates names are and the names and the
exactly.
photographs of the thing. So I think my own feeling is because of the 18 to 25, they will get a significant amount of the vote, but they will not have the youth, but they will not have enough to counter BNP and the Jamaat Islami.
So there is any possibility of any coalition government?
Yes, 100%. It has to be a coalition. 100%.
100%. Finally, exactly, I would like to, so whosoever wins in February elections, February 2026, this is the last question, that what do you think the new elected government of Bangladesh in 2026, what will be its approach towards India then? Because India has been a major factor.
I think it will be worse than what it is now. Because then they will have the mandate of the people officially. See, so when you have the mandate, the government is an interim government. It cannot take many decisions because it has taken decisions, but it cannot take many because of it lacks the authority of the voting populace, right? Once you have the mandate of the people, and if I may hazard, I guess that I think there will be a coalition between BNP and Jamaat Islami, right? It has happened before, Jamaat Islami and BNP.
And both are deadly against India.
Both are deadly against India. And because of the students' animosity toward the Indians, I think it would be the interest of both BNP and Jamaat Islami to ensure that they give them a considerable role in a coalition government. So if there is a coalition government of these three parties, then they will have a majority in parliament with which they can, amend the constitution to reflect the reality, the Muslim reality on the ground. And the Muslim reality, not only the ground, but in the region, right? And I think that is something. Dekhiye, aap to baat kar rahe Hadi ki. Let me give you, out of the blue, something.
True.
Have you ever heard of Operation Leech? In Operation Leech. In Operation Leech, the Indians took the leaders of the Arakan army, Muslim army. They took them to the Andaman Islands and slaughtered them. They took the leaders of the Arakan army and they took them to Andaman Islands and slaughtered them. They took them on a pretext, that they would help them, and slaughtered them to a man. So, what would you expect? Assassination is a part of their political
mantra. We are running short of time. The assassination is part of the Indian mantra, and by making strong footprints in Bangladesh, India wanted hegemony, but ultimately failed. Bangladeshi people have, of course, rejected India.
I just want to add one thing.
Yes, please, one sentence.
Why are they now friendly with the Afghans that for 45 years, they opposed them? Only because they can have terror in Pakistan, right? And what is terror in Pakistan? You assassinate individuals or you use bombs to kill hundreds of people in mosques, in schools, etc., right? It is part of their,
part of their sinister design. Thank you so much indeed, Ikram Sehgal Saab, very seasoned analyst, speaking on latest happenings in Bangladesh. And thank you so much for your insightful analysis about the political situation in Bangladesh. Dear viewers, till our next program, goodbye and Khuda Hafiz.